G'day everyone and welcome to another week of the NTFA Footy Show with a big thanks to DLM Machinery. Great to have your company as we head into a big weekend of footy. Tonight, Club in Focus. We're going to focus all eyes on Bridgenorth. Bobby Beams, the president, will join us. Women's football with Abby Green, and we'll have a very special guest with us as well. And we'll take a look at a lot coming up in events around Tasmania in our segment there as well. But what we're going to do, first of all, as we do every week, it was a rotten week weather-wise last weekend, wasn't it? But we got some great photos out of it. That is the beauty. Check this one out at Westbury from last weekend, and it was a mud pool out there for the clash between the Meander Valley Suns and University of Tasmania. I have to mention those two teams because you struggle to actually make out who's playing who. So that is the conditions out at Westbury, and that is our photo of the week, taking home the 4-pack of Crafty Cuts with thanks to Little Rivers Brewing Company in Bridport and Scottsdale. So thank you for the pick. And now we're going to have a look at the state of play in men's football. Firstly, check out the Premier Division, the ladder. It's getting very interesting now as we build up towards the end of the home and away season. And we'll start off by looking at the Premier Division ladder. And there you can see it with 6 rounds remaining, 7 teams in contention for finals. Hillwood, well, they lost their first game of the season in the top of the table clash against Rochalee last week. So that lead has been cut to 6 points. Rochalee, of course, in second place. Reigning premiers Longford occupying third. Now, South Launceston, they are really in some good form at the moment. They made it 5 on the trot with a massive 91-point victory over Bridgenorth last weekend. And then it is getting very tight with Bracknell currently in 5th on percentage from Bridgenorth. And Deloraine, they're now just a game out of the top 5. A big game coming up for this weekend as we check out the matches coming up tomorrow in the NTFA Premier Division. Bracknell are at home to Scottsdale. Rochalee are at home to Georgetown. We've got South Launceston playing Hillwood. That should be a cracking game up at Youngtown Oval tomorrow afternoon. And as I mentioned, Deloraine, a really important game for them, and they are taking on Longford. That game is at 2:30 p.m. and there are all the details on the screen for you there. All tomorrow afternoon in action for the NTFA Premier Division. All right, let's turn our attention now to Division 1 and check out the state of play in the Division 1 ladder there. And we can see that Old Scotch are on top of the table. And, it's interesting because they are now 3 games clear on top of the ladder at last year's grand finalists. But then second and third, St Pat's and Lilydale, they meet this week in a huge game there between those two. Perth are still in 4th place, but Evandale and Old Launcestonians, 5th and 6th, separated by just 7%, and the huge clash coming up between them this week. So we might have a look at the matches coming up now in the Division 1, and we've got the East Coast Swans. They're going to be taking on the Meander Valley Suns, and also Old Scotch, they're going to be at home at the NTCA ground to Bridport. All matches at 2 o'clock this Saturday afternoon. University of Tasmania take on Perth out at the Uni in Newnham. 2 big games, St Pat's and Lilydale. As I mentioned, they are 2nd and 3rd at the moment. St Pat's won by just 8 points back in round 4. And Lilydale, well, they've won their last 7. They are in great form, and we're probably looking at this stage to be the main challenger to last year's grand finalists, Old Scotch and also St Pat's. And Evandale play Old Launcestonians. That is at Morven Park, and that is a massive game in terms of the state of play in the top 5. So that is Division 1 action coming up this weekend. All right, time now to check where things are at in the Bogues MVP and the Premier Division firstly, and we have got a new leader. Last year's winner, Jordan Cousins, is now the outright leader in the MVP. He picked up 2 votes against Hillwood. And Hillwood's Isaac Thompson, 2nd on 29, with Bracknell's Josh Woolley. He's a vote further back on 28. So very, very tight there. But as I said, the reigning champ, Jordan Cousins, been a big month for him, is now our outright leader. Men's Division 1 in the MVP, and Old Scotch's John McKenzie, he is still the leader, and he's actually extended it to 12 after polling 5 votes against the East Coast Swans. Then it gets tight. William Haley of Perth is second on 27 votes. Alex Jordan of Evandale, 3 votes back on 24, and making a bit of a move as well. Lilydale's Thane Bardenhagen, 4th on 23 votes. So wide open there from second onwards, but the man they're all catching is the veteran from Old Scotch, John McKenzie, who's got a very impressive lead. So that is where we're at with Boag's MVP in men's footy. We're going to take a quick break here on the NTFA Footy Show, and coming up next, it's going to be our Club in Focus.
Durable, reliable, heavy duty. Get the power you need from the people who know machinery. For sales, parts, servicing and expert advice, call DLM Machinery today or visit dlmmachinery.com.au.
And welcome back to the NTFA Footy Show with thanks to Harrison Agents. It's time for another Club in Focus. And this week we are going to chat about the Bridgenorth Football Club. Proud history, and who better to have a bit of a chat to about this than the president? He's also the women's coach. Pretty much does everything in the Bridgenorth Football Club, I think, Bobby Beams, don't you?
No, certainly not everything. But thanks for having me on, Rick, and congratulations with the show. It's great for community footy, NTFA footy. So
Thank you. No, appreciate it. And as I said, a rich history with the Bridgenorth Football Club. For those watching around Tasmania, tell us a little bit about the club, a little bit about its history, because we've got some pics as well of some of the flags over the years. But it is a proud and long-serving club to the community down the West Tamar.
Absolutely, mate. We're almost at 100 years, so 2025 will be our centenary anniversary. Wow. But started way back, obviously in the 20s.
Yeah, and some early shots there as well from some early success.
Yeah, that's right. No, and a big thank you must go to the Scolyer family who moved to the district, and their 4 sons all had played football elsewhere. And obviously back then it was hard for them to drive to Launceston because there was no motor cars, or go to Exeter. So they wanted to form a football club in our area, and there was a lot of other families and that, and they got together, and in 2025 we entered the West Tamar Footy Association, and it took a few a bit to get in there. Actually, there was a bit of a bit of angst from outside and within, and said that one administrator famously said, "We better give them a go. They won't last long." And ironically, we're the only team left.
There you go. Remarkable, isn't it? And it's an important part of the community. And we'll see from some of the footage of the game last week at home against South Launceston. It's fascinating because it's really in the middle of nowhere. Very small area in terms of obviously population and housing. Very farming focus, but obviously only really 15 minutes out of the city. Tell us about that, because how hard is it to maintain not only the success, but I guess all the volunteers and everyone that's part of the club, because you've got a very good following.
Yeah, we sure do. And look, it's no doubt from way back into the 20s to now, we've always had our challenges, but there's been a few constants that have kept us going. And one of those, or a few of those, are care to our people. We really value the people at the club that come in as a volunteer or a player. We have a strong work ethic. We've started by building the current Parrot Park where we are in the 50s, and we've done a lot of renovations ourselves over the years, and we just got a can-do attitude, and that's they're the real main pillars that have kept us going for a long time, and I guess being close, Lagana are very a growing area. It's only 6.5 kilometres down the road, and a lot of our players are coming from that area.
Terrific. The evolution of women's football has been massive. We've got, I think, 13 clubs in the NTFA over 2 divisions now. Your women are leading the Premier Division at the moment, having a great season. The talent down the West Tamar is, as you touched on with Lagana and how big that's become, but you must be very proud of where women's football has come and what it's contributed to the club as well, on and off the field. Yeah,
for sure. It's for the whole competition. It's been great. It's been fantastic. The NTFA have taken it on and taken it on as they have. But for our club, when the NTFA took the women's comp on. So licences went out in 2018, and we decided to put in for one, and we got one, and we're in our 5th year now. It has just been a remarkable thing for the club. We've had 76 players that have played at least one game for us, and the people they bring into the club that have probably never come with their families, their friends, and a lot of other players that might have come and trained and never played.
Yep.
It's just totally changed the whole aspect of the club, all for the better.
Now, you are the coach, of course, as well, and you are top of the table. I know we've got, I think, a couple of pics, if we haven't shown them already, of where your young women have, or what they've achieved this year as well, obviously with the rep team. I think there were 6 who played with the NTFA.
6 in the seniors and 4 in the under-20s.
Yeah,
so we had 10
incredible.
in that, and then we had 4 in the state side. So, yeah, look, the girls, the whole group, obviously the girls we see there have starred, but the whole group, the whole 30-odd players we've got, they're very driven. They drive each other, they support each other, but then they challenge each other. And they're a very, very driven group, and they're having a good year. So we'll see how it pans out.
We will, getting towards the business end, but right in the mix now. You are one of 2 teams in Australia known as the Parrots. Now, we do know there is another. The other one is Leongatha. Now, we've got their logo here will pop up. Now, you guys have got the bye this week, but it's interesting. A few of your boys are going to take the opportunity to actually go over and watch the other Parrots play.
A few of the older blokes, committee blokes, have formed a bit of a connection there and go over and have a look. And I think just from the whole club, just having a week off with no footy's good for everyone, and a lot of people will be doing all different things, which is good. You need that through a footy season for sure.
You do. So no going to the AFL for a players' trip. It's going to go and watch Leongatha.
Oh yeah, I think some will probably be going to AFL games and that as well.
Good on him. Now, we might just have a quick talk about a reunion coming up as well, because, as I said, you've got a great history, but we've got a slide here. Past players and officials luncheon that's coming up, Bobby. And guest speaker is, of course, very good young cricketer, Emma Mannix-Jeeves. So I believe Emma's brother plays for the club as well.
Yeah,
so there is that link.
Sam plays there, and her other brother Jack played with us in the under-18s last year.
Yeah.
So no, that'd be great to have Emma up that day. And so it's a couple of weeks away. It's a full past players, officials, supporters reunion, but we're also acknowledge our 2013 reserves premiership coached by J-Rod.
Yeah, J-Rod. Now, for those who may not be too familiar with J-Rod, we'll show you a photo, and then I think you'll realise, that's him, the famous man, and there he is, the best mullet going around, and he became an overnight superstar, didn't he?
Yeah, he's probably he'd probably tell you he's always been a superstar, but probably just becoming the public eye then. But no, he's a great bloke, played 300 games for the club, and a tremendous asset to have around the footy club.
Yeah, famous night down at the Bridge North Footy Club. I'm sure we've got a pic of that one as well. But he certainly helped out one ScoMo, didn't he, when he was on the rocks. But if anyone wants to know about the Past Players event, we saw on the fly there, head to the Bridge North Facebook page and you'll get all the details. And they are the Club of the West Tamar. There's going to actually be a bus pickup for those out of the Bridge North area, and details there on how you can RSVP as well. Bobby, always great to chat with you, mate, and congratulations on what you and your volunteers do at that club, because it's not only successful on the field, it's off the field as well. And I know plenty to play for this season still in the men's and the women's, and it should be a cracking year.
Absolutely, mate. And thank you very much for having us on.
Pleasure to have you on, mate.
Awesome.
Bobby Beams, president of the Bridge North Footy Club and coach of the senior Premier Division women's team as well, joining us for our Club in Focus with thanks to Harrison's Women's Footy, coming up next with thanks to Cleanaway.
Durable, reliable, heavy duty. Get the power you need from the people who know machinery. For sales, parts, servicing and expert advice, call DLM Machinery today or visit dlmmachinery.com.au.
and welcome back to the NTFA Footy Show. And tonight we are joined by special guest and well-known footballer Deanne Taylor. Now, Deanne, she's had quite the resume recently in football. She was vice-captain of the NTFA rep side, and then she was vice-captain of the state team. And we welcome Deanne. Deanne, how you going?
Thanks for having me.
So we
good.
just want to...
How are you guys going?
Good.
Terrific.
Just want to chat about your recent month. You've been all over Tassie with football. How has that experience been, and putting on the Guernsey to play for Tasmania?
It's been quite a big month. First rep footy and then the Tassie game. So, yeah, it's been jam-packed, but it's been really good.
And what about for you, Deanna, that day down at North Hobart Oval? Obviously judged to be the best player for Tassie as well, and very popular winner of that. You had a great game, but there's a bit of excitement of you there during the game, but also getting the medal for the best player. I mean, how much of an honour was it to play for Tassie, but also to take out the best player?
Oh, it was a massive honour. I'm still shocked by it all, actually. The whole day was just surreal. I was very fortunate on the day to be awarded best on. There was a handful of girls that could have easily taken out best on, so feeling very, very lucky and very fortunate.
What about the crowd? Playing in front of such a big crowd down at North Hobart Oval. Have you played on that ground before? Because it's an interesting dimensions.
Yeah, I've played it down there a few times, but the crowd, it started to build in the second half, and it's something that you can't really describe unless you experience it. It was huge, and it was really exciting.
Now, talk us through that moment. You were deep in the wing in our forward 50. You got the ball, you busted through one player, you busted through a second, and then you slotted the goal right from the boundary line. How does that happen?
Honestly, if it was any other Saturday, it would have went clean out on the full. But no, I still get goosebumps thinking about it. I was, just in that moment, I thought, nah, get it forward, slot it through the goal. So I kind of just, roosted it towards goal and it went through. So I was pretty excited about it.
Were you going for goal, or were you looking for an option? I must know.
No, absolutely going for goal. But like I said, any other day it would have went clean out.
I love that. Just speaking on your development over the years, Deanne, you've obviously played VFL, you were played in the TSL, you've won flags, but throughout your journey, you've remained so humble, and I've actually never seen you have a bad day. You always bring people up and you inspire people to do better. Where does that inspiration come from?
I think you've got to remember where you came from. Obviously started at Scottsdale and then went to Launceston in my second year. It was a massive jump. And I still remember, we joke about this all the time, Abby. My kicking efficiency one week was 17%. Mm-hmm. So I think every week I just go out there and want to be better. I'm never satisfied. So I think to stay level, you just need to keep thinking you can do better and you'll do better next week.
That's brilliant. Over the years, have you changed your mentality towards football at all? Now that you've obviously got a lot of achievements under your belt, what's next for you?
I'm really enjoying my football at the moment. You can get caught up in winning and premierships and all that sort of stuff. So this year, I've kind of taken a step back and I'm really enjoying it at Scottsdale. The girls are awesome, and being coached by one of my good friends as well. It just kind of brings the enjoyment back into the game. But yeah, future-wise, I've got some exciting things lined up, but nothing it's been stuck in concrete yet. So we'll see what happens.
What do you think, Deanne, this does for women's football, being part of obviously the state team? We know we've got a VFLW team coming, AFLW, but did you get a sense of just how much there is to look forward to in the future for young women and young men in Tasmania now that they've got something to aspire to at home?
Yeah, absolutely. It's huge. I feel a bit embarrassed to admit it now, but leading up to that state game, I was a little bit blasé at how big it really is. Dad kept saying, "Oh, how big it is, how great it is," and wasn't until the jumper presentation the night before, and we had a few guest speakers, and they spoke about what they meant to them, and what an honour it is. It wasn't until then it really sunk in how big and how great it is to wear the map and what the future has in store for the young ones coming through. So it's really exciting.
And we've got a pick here, a couple of picks of you coming forward to pick up your award. I mean, what was your excuse me? What was your reaction to this? I mean, Deb presenting the medal to you, but you just look so happy. What did that moment mean to you?
Oh, I was stoked. I think I was taking a drink at the time. When I heard my name, I was totally shocked. Did not expect that one little bit. So yeah, I dropped the drink bottle and made my way up.
just on that moment too, I remember being there, and it was it was an incredible moment to see Deanne get that award because of how much effort she puts in off the field as well. She's so passionate and she builds players up. So you took that out into the game as well. You're playing mid, back, and then you managed to go forward and slot a goal. So I think it was well deserved, and everyone had your back in that moment as well.
Thanks, Abs.
Just speaking on Scottsdale, what does the remainder of the season look like for you guys?
It's looking very exciting, actually. I think we're on the same points as South. I think only percentage is separating us now. So what happens at the back end of this season is really important for us to make that final four. So we've got a few big games coming up.
And you've got Alex Hall back as well, is that correct? Wow.
Yes, yep. So she's been back for 2 rounds now, and she's just slotted back in perfectly. She's a great addition, and she's only going to get better as the games roll through.
I think she kicked a goal in the first week back too. Not bad after 3 months
She
after
did.
having Bub. So fantastic.
Very impressive.
And we're going to get stuck into a bit of a preview of everything in the ladder very shortly. But we appreciate your time, Deanne. We might let you go and make a nice latte or something in that lovely-looking kitchen behind you there.
In Bridport.
Perfect. Thanks, guys.
Good on you.
Deanne.
Thanks for joining us. Very humble person, isn't she?
She's
She's a
fantastic.
star on the
She's
field.
a star, she's a leader and a true inspiration, and very grateful to be able to play with her.
Excellent. Well said. All right. Well, look, Abby, we're going to have a bit of a look at, I know it's a week off for the Premier Division women, but we're going to have a look at the ladders now, and we will start with the Women's Premier Division ladder here. And it's all getting very interesting. Of course, Bridgenorth, they remain unbeaten. Narrow win, 5 points over South Launceston, but they are doing enough every week, and they are the yardstick at the moment. But your mob, Old Launcestonians, probably surprisingly how big the win was against them, considering the conditions. 31 points.
Correct.
Jumping back into second place, overtaking them. That's a big win.
Yeah, it was a big win, but I think Scotch have more to bring into the season. It was a terrible day. So we can't take that into consideration too much. Although I do like to razz up the girls. They just performed exceptional. So well done to the girls.
Yep, great win. Scotch then are now third on the table, and then the battle for fourth, it is really on between South Launceston and Scottsdale. That was an important win for them over an improving Launceston, a pretty comfortable one in the end by 25 points. So they're definitely still in the hunt. As we mentioned, no matches coming up this weekend in the Women's Premier Division. So we'll get stuck now into Division 1 and have a look at the table before we look at the matches coming up. And we can see there that Meander Valley are still on top of the table. They defeated Longford convincingly last weekend. And Deloraine, they are the big improver in women's football across the board, I think, for this season. A percentage-boosting win over Evandale, who failed to score in that one. So they are in second spot from Hillwood. And then we have Georgetown and Evandale are on 12. So there are 3 byes this week, Evandale, Georgetown and Hillwood, as we have a look at the matches coming up. East Coast Swans are at home to Meander Valley, so that's going to be a tough one for the girls down there. And Deloraine and Longford, that is at 10:55, so that is round 11. So couple of games there, and everyone else got the weekend off. You looking forward to that?
I'm excited. It's been a massive month of football. Although I kind of miss it. I wish I was out there playing. So
well, enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the weekend off. Now, important, have a look at the votes in the MVP with thanks to Bogues and the Women's Premier Division. Emily McKiddle is still leading and leading convincingly.
Very clear.
But the margin has been cut back, but still
Look
14
at that.
votes from Sophie Farrow, who picked up 4.
Look who
against
snuck
Old
up the
Scotch.
list. Look
She
who
has snuck up the
up.
list.
Deanne
and
Taylor.
Deanne Taylor, there she is in 3rd as well. So after best on ground win against Launceston, she polled 6 votes. So doing very nicely there. Division 1 and the leaderboard, as we can see, we've got Jodie Clifford still leading the way, but it is narrowing. Of course, her availability is not there every week as well, but it just shows what an important player she is to the Saints. Still in front at the end of round 10.
She's doing extremely well. And then you've got Jade Nicholas coming up the ladder too from Longford. So
Yeah, and also Hannah Mitchell-Grimer. She's had a really good
She's a
season
really
and
good
sneaking
player.
up there as well, and only 3 votes off the pace as well. So that
Good to
is
see.
the leaderboard as it stands for the Bogues MVP for 2023. What we're going to do for next week, because we're getting closer to the end of the season, we're actually going to do the votes, but we're not going to do the leaderboard. So
Good.
we'll
Keep it
we'll
interesting.
quiet, just so that coaches don't ever look at the leaderboard, Abby.
although it's going to be very hard to catch Emily McKinnell.
Yeah,
So
there will be. She's a star and having a great year. Good to see you. Thanks for coming on. Great chat with Deanne. We'll catch you next
lovely.
week.
Thank you.
Okay, that is women's football with thanks to Cleanaway. Back with more in a moment.
Durable, reliable, heavy duty. Get the power you need from the people who know machinery. For sales, parts, servicing and expert advice, call DLM Machinery today or visit dlmmachinery.com.au.
Good to have your company on the NTFA Footy Show on a Friday night. Great to be with you as we get set for a big weekend of footy, and it's now time for our Football Around Tasmania segment. There's a lot coming up over the next little bit. Something coming up this weekend, a big milestone up at the St Pat's Footy Club with Brenton Cook. Brenton, there he is, showing a little bit of candy, if you don't mind as well. That's in the grand final, that photo taken by Solstice Digital against Old Launcestonians. But Brenton playing his 300th game this weekend, and they're taking on Lilydale. Made his debut back in 2005, so an 18-year career. 154 senior games, 146 in the reserves. 268 goals as well. And the reserves have had a great history with premierships. Brenton has been part of 5 of those premierships. So well done, Brenton. Enjoy your 300th day. I know it'll be a big one up there at St Pat's tomorrow afternoon. Now, the East Coast Swans are going to be holding their inaugural Hall of Fame this weekend down at the club this Saturday night, and also the Team of the Decade for the 1970s. It all gets underway at 6:30 tomorrow night. There'll be complimentary finger food. There'll be live music as well. If you don't know about it, it's tomorrow night. Get onto the East Coast Swans Facebook page. Get in touch with the club. Should be a cracking night. Their inaugural Hall of Fame inductees. Special night coming up down there tomorrow. Now, one for the diary. The Latrobe Football Club. A night with Jack Revolt and also fellow Richmond champion Trent Cotchin. Now, this is going to be a great night as well. It's coming up very shortly, as there are only 13 tickets left as of yesterday. It's in 3 weeks' time on the 5th of August. Only $70 per person. It includes supper, and you're going to hear from 2 Richmond legends, Trent Cotchin, of course, Tasmania's very own Jack Rewalt. That'll be a cracking night. Check out the Latrobe Facebook page for details and get your tickets. Hardly any left, so that will be a very, very enjoyable night. Now, big day, an annual event, and it's a very special day always between the Deloraine Football Club and Longford. It is Make Runs Maxi, and it is happening tomorrow. Now, Isaac Maxi Walters passed away at just the tender age of 16 back in 2017. Now, Make Runs Maxi, it is a not-for-profit organisation aiming to give people a sense of fulfilment whilst also attempting to decrease the negative consequences surrounding our social and emotional health, including suicide, depression and anxiety. He's deeply missed by all. Is Maxi, 2017, hard to believe it's been 6 years, but that's a very special day, a huge raffle happening out there. Jump online as well. Both clubs are supporting it. Well done to Deloraine and Longford, and there are the details of what's happening. There's merchandise to buy as well, the Sailor food truck, so it'll be a great day out at Deloraine. So if you can get involved with that, that'd be very much appreciated. Now, the Tasmanian State of Origin reunion, that is actually starting to sneak up. It's the 1990 State of Origin reunion, of course, when Tasmania beat Victoria. 33 years later, the reunion is coming up on Friday, the 6th of October, down at KG5. Just $100 plus a booking fee, and you're going to get to hear from the likes of David Parkin, Darren Pritchard, Robert Shaw, the Tasmanian coach, Gary Ayres, who was captain of the Victoria team, and nearly everyone is going to be there from the team as well. So it'll be a great reunion, and make sure you get on board. Tickets are limited. Details there on also the Relive the Rivalry Facebook page for those. A couple of more things to just pump up a little bit. This Saturday night, and this will be a cracking event too, out at the Penguin Football Club, two absolute Carlton icons, the great Peter Bosustow and Wayne Johnston. They'll be there tomorrow night, just $50 per person. There you can see 7 o'clock for a 7:30 start, just $50 with finger food provided as well. And you'll hear from two absolute greats. There's a big game of football as well, with Penguin taking on Circular Head earlier in the day. So details there on how to get your tickets, and also on the Penguin Facebook page. And finally, another reunion coming up for the Perth Football Club this time. 40-year reunion, the 1983 Premiership reunion. Details there in front of you on the Perth Magpies Facebook page. It's on the 22nd of July. They'll actually be our club in focus leading up to that as well in a week. So we look forward to catching up with them. So that's coming up out at the Perth Footy Ground. Brings you up to speed on what is happening. Plenty happening. Please send us in your details. We'd love to hear from you, and we'll get it out there on our footy show. It's been another big show. Thank you to all our special guests, and we look forward to seeing you next week on the NTFA Footy Show. Enjoy your footy weekend. Make sure you get those photos in, and we'll catch you next Thursday.